Hey there, please turn to page 4 of your curve sketching notes. Alright, we're going to do curve sketching of another form. Basically, we are still going to go through X, Y, S, T. But there are some changes to certain steps over here. Okay, first and foremost, we have to know how to do completing the square. Alright, so the question actually asks us to express y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3 in the form of x minus h bracket square plus k, which is what we call completing the square. Alright, let me go through the steps with you. First, completing the square, half dx and put in bracket, half dx and put in bracket. Subtract the square of that number there. There we have completed the square. Let me do it properly for you. So if we were to simplify it, this is what we have for completing the square. So let me write that down. So that is our answer before we do our curve sketching. Now, remember, if we need to do curve sketching, we must go through all the basic steps all over again. X, Y, S, T. Before we get started, same thing, let's check the shape. It's an X square, so we're having a U shape. Step number 1. Okay, it's not as easy as previous where we can make use of the zero product rule, but remember step number 1 is the x-intercept. We have to make y is equal to 0. When this is equal to 0, you can make use of a calculator solving for quadratic equation to get the answer instead of doing it yourself, factorizing it yourself. Alright, so I'm just going to use the calculator very quickly, which everyone has no problem using. You will be able to get y is equal to negative. You'll be able to get x is equal to 1 or 3. Next, there is also another method you can do by solving this. We have completed the square. If I were to use my answer to solve it, you notice I will get x is equal to 1 or 3 as well. So there are two ways you can actually solve for it, but I'll prefer the first method if the original quadratic function is given to you rather than to make use of the answer from completed the square. Next, the y-intercept, where x is equal to 0. If you have x is equal to 0, it's very clear cut based on the original expression, y is equal to 3. Line of symmetry. This is the part where I need to let you know. Alright, there is another method that we can use for the line of symmetry. Since we have done our completing the square, what you need to do is to make the bracket term equal to 0 and solve for x. So in this case, our bracket term is x minus 2 and let it be equated to 0, and x is equal to 2 will be our line of symmetry. But if you make use of the previous method which we have learned previously, we can also make use of the average of the two intercepts that we have, and in this case we also have the same answer for the line of symmetry. So our answers are consistent. You can choose whichever steps is actually easier for you. Last but not least, turning point. In this case, we have a U shape. So we are having a minimum point. Finding the coordinates of the minimum point, meaning you will have to substitute x is equal to 2, which is the line of symmetry, inside the equation. And in this case, you will be able to get -1. So now, as per previous, we will need to actually do the scale for our axis before we indicate the points inside. Okay, let me indicate the points for the x-intercept first at 1 as well as 3. Y-intercept is at 3. The line of symmetry is x is equal to 2, so please indicate with a dotted line. Of course, you should be doing this with your ruler. Last but not least, the minimum point, 2, -1. And remember to indicate the coordinates as well. And next, you will have to join all the points together to form a smooth curve. And there you have it. We are done for our curve sketching on page 4.